Hello, I am Toby, and today we're going to take a look at my 2008 MacBook Pro. Now, a while back I received two broken MacBook Pros, and I managed to fix one of them. And I have a video on my channel all about that if you want to check that out. Alright, so how about we start by taking a look at the outside of the MacBook Pro. Alright, so this is the top of the laptop. We have the backlit Apple MacBook Pro logo. And as you can probably tell, there are a lot of dents and wear and tear on the top of this. And this is pretty much something that's all around the computer. Alright, so this is the front of the computer. We have a little infrared thing right here. I believe it's for a data connection or something. And we have our cover release button right here. There's also a little light on here to indicate when the computer is on and off. Now this is the CD DVD drive. This one, the little aluminum here was pushed down, so I had to file it out in order to get CDs in and out. But while doing that, I ruined the little dust filter on the front, so I'm going to have to live with this. Also right here, I'm not sure how evident it is, but you can probably tell that it is bulging out a little bit here. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this laptop was pretty heavily damaged when I got it. It's pretty much a wonder I made it work. And this is the side of the laptop. We have some screws. And I'm not sure what this is. I do believe it's for some type of expansion card, but who knows. And we have a headphone. I believe this is just a headphone jack right here. And this is the mic jack right here, but I'm not quite sure because I'm not sure what exactly that little mark means. On this particular side of the computer, we also have a USB 2.0 port, and we have our magnetic safe, MagSafe power connector, which is, I think, is pretty cool and something that every laptop needs. Now this is the back of the laptop. Not much to talk about. We have our exhaust and intake ports down here. Find it kind of weird to put these side by side, but who cares. And over on the other side of the laptop we have a DVI output. I'm not sure what speed this is, but it is an Ethernet connector. And we have a couple of FireWire ports, two different kinds. And we have another USB 2.0 port. So on the bottom we have a lot of scratches and other damages. But this is not something that I particularly care about. This is the battery right here, lasts about 2 hours. Now on each corner there's supposed to be a little standoff, but these are not there. They're probably broken. And of course the entire laptop is made from aluminum. Alright, so let's open up the laptop by pushing the release. And something I find kind of cool is that there are little hooks coming down when the lid closes. This is because there is a magnet in here that attracts the hooks. And there's a little spring up here that makes sure the hooks retract once the screen is going up. And there's the screen. It's a 15-inch screen, I believe. I'm not quite sure what the resolution is, but it's not really important to me. Up here we have a little webcam. And down here we have a keyboard. Keyboard is actually pretty nice to type on, if I have to say so myself. That's the power button over here. And down here we have the trackpad and our mouse button. Actually these both sides are left click. So something I've noticed when trying to open applications, if you just tap the touchpad, it doesn't do anything. You have to push the left click, and in order to right click you just put two fingers on the touchpad and click. That's the right click. Alright, so let's try and turn the computer on. Now this usually takes a while since I am using a hard disk in here. I didn't really have the money for an SSD, so for right now the hard disk will have to do. So we're on our desktop, and it does have a screen brightness over here. Turn it down, turn it up. We have our keyboard brightness. I'm not sure. Well, I can't really turn it off because it's too bright out. Maybe if I cover here. Yeah, there's a sensor over here and one over here that senses light. So if it starts getting dark out, it will automatically lower the screen brightness. Of course, you can reverse this by simply just, well, yeah, turning up the screen brightness. But it also has a backlit keyboard, but I can't show you that right now because it is too bright to use. We also have our speaker controls. The speakers are actually pretty decent. I'm not going to take this particular laptop apart, but I do have well, another one taken apart so that I can show you the internals. Okay, so these are the internals of the MacBook Pro. Have a hard disk over here. We have our CD drive over here. This is where the battery would be. This one only has 2 gigabytes of RAM. The one I'm using has a 4 gigs of RAM. Up here we have a right speaker and a left speaker. And under the right speaker right here, I'm not sure. That one, the green one right there, is a sensor, a light sensor. And we have one more over here. Right here is our Wi-Fi card. Now you may have noticed that we have 2 cooling fans, which is pretty cool. No pun intended. Now these fans, I'm not sure if they're bad or anything, but they're not doing a very good job. Now the reason why they're not doing a good job is because this computer has a Core 2 Duo processor, dual core, clocked at 2.5 gigahertz. Which is actually pretty powerful, and it runs quite hot. I mean, this thing can get hot to the touch if you're doing something intensive on it. Alright, here's our information sheet. As you can see, we have a 2.5 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo and 4 gigs of DDR2. And we are running a Snow Leopard here. This thing can run up to Lion, I believe, but it can't really run anything nearer than that. So if you're okay with using an old system, that'll be perfect. Now the GPU in this system is an NVIDIA GeForce 8600M GT with a mere half gigabyte of VRAM. And down here we have our screen resolution, 1440 by 900. Alright, so that was some of the specs and the outside of the computer. Let's take a look at how well it performs in everyday tasks. Alright, so let's see how well it runs in YouTube. Right now we're running 1080p. And that's not what I wanted to do. And there we go. And let's turn up the speakers a little bit. Processor out of its packaging. Now that you have your processor out, you want to be very, very careful not to bend these little pins, because they bend your processor. Yeah, I'd say that runs pretty well. Alright, let's see what it does when we open some more tabs. A bit slow to load. Still a little bit slow, but nothing too bad actually. So yeah, for browsing it's doing pretty fine. Alright, so browsing did pretty well. Let's try something a bit more challenging for the Mac computer. Let's try and run Counter-Strike Source on here. Alright, so this is what Counter-Strike Source looks like right now. Not sure what to think about this, but I'll give it a try. Let's try the video benchmarking test. So this is what the benchmarking test looks like right now. Definitely not looking too great. I did set all the settings to lowest, but yeah, let's see what the FPS counter in the final part of the test says. The benchmark is finished and it's telling us we're getting 22.42 frames per second, which is not a lot. So I figured let's try and try some actual gameplay. Now before we start, I'm not sure if you can hear it, but here, let me move you a little bit. I don't know if you can hear it, but the fans are ramping up pretty heavily. And something I just quickly want to touch on is the design right here, because right down here we have the exhaust, but the screen is in the way, meaning that the computer has a hard time getting rid of the hot exhausts, meaning that it gets pretty hot. So I'm not sure how well you can see this, but the textures are all wrong. I mean, even the gun flash right there is pretty messed up. but at least it seems somewhat playable. It's actually not as bad as I expected. Then again, to be fair, I think it may just be the Wineskin app causing these weird issues, but I don't have enough experience with Wineskin to tell exactly if this is a bug in their app or if it's just the Mac computer that's not able to properly run Counter-Strike Source. So this is the webcam right here. I actually did make a video. Alright YouTube, so this is a test of the built-in webcam. From what I can see right now, it's not looking that great. There's a bit of a delay, but I'm excited to see what the video looks like once I'm done. Yeah, definitely not the greatest webcam quality, but then again, I'm not planning on using the webcam on this computer. Well, that was my video on the 2008 MacBook Pro. Now keep in mind, this is my very first MacBook computer that I have actively used. So I'm quite new to the Mac operating system, and I gotta say I kinda like it actually. I kinda get why people get all, ooh, Macintosh, you know, that kind of person, because it is a very special experience having a Mac computer. I mean, the operating system seems so user-friendly until you have to do some actual work on this computer. I mean, the setup, everything, pretty much getting the computer to work properly was one hell of a ride. I mean, I learned more in that couple days putting this thing together than I have done the past 3 months using Windows computers. Now, I personally use this computer just for internet browsing, some light research, so I'm not going to use this as a gaming computer. Obviously not very good at gaming, but yeah, it's more of an internet computer for me. Now, like I said earlier, this thing gets pretty hot under load. Do not put this thing on your lap and run some heavy load. I mean, this thing will burn your thighs. I use a computer stand when I use it, and I can still feel the heat through that one. Now again, I think the heat is because the computer can't get rid of the heat, and some of the heat might cycle back into the system, obviously causing more heat, but that's just my theory. Now, as of this computer's place in 2017, I'll have to say it is still useful actually. Not so much as a daily main work computer, but more like a home computer. Email browsing, internet browsing, watching videos, all that good stuff. It does very, very well. I mean, I use this thing for maybe 1 or 2 hours every day just before I go to bed. You know, just watch some YouTube, watch a movie or something, and all of that it does very, very well. Now, something else you could do with this computer is if you have a young child who wants a computer, you can just get one of these, give it to them, and see if they can handle the responsibility of having a computer. Okay, so a bit of an interruption, but while I was editing this video I realized I'd forgotten to mention some things, so I thought I'd clear that up now. The laptop does have Wi-Fi, that's why it had a Wi-Fi card, but I wanted to show you the Wi-Fi antennas. Now this is a screen, broken screen from the MacBook Pro, and right here are our antennas for the Wi-Fi, and they pretty much end up here. These 3 copper strips are the antennas. There are no antenna cables going up around the frame, so we have some low-sitting antennas is basically what I'm trying to say. And of course, something else I failed to mention was that it does have Bluetooth as well, and the Bluetooth antenna is housed down here. But yeah, that was my review or overview or whatever you want to call it of the 2008 MacBook Pro. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, rate, subscribe or whatever. But yeah, thanks for watching.